Good day, you're welcome to Lush Fashion Tutorial.
Today we'll be looking at how to make bomber jackets with hoodie.
Measure the length of the bodice. I'm working with 25-inch. Mark like so. Next, you measure the neck with 3.5. Neck depth is 1 inch. Mark like so and curve the neck like you see. Next, we measure our shoulder. I'm working with 8.25. Next, we slant with 1 inch and measure bust point plus 0.5. Measure your bust line divided by 4 plus 3. Do your hip divided by 4 plus 3 as same allowance. So we are going to measure our arm side, mark like so, connect on your chest line, then you curve at the midpoint of your chest line. So you can see. So we are going to shape our arm side inwards, then cut like that. Next, we are going to reduce our bodice with about 3 inch. Since we are going to add our waistband to it, this is the front and back. We are going to sew the shoulder at this point. And here we are done sewing the shoulder. You can see what we have. We are going to pin the center of the sleeve to the center of the shoulder. Pin round like you see. And sew with 0.375 seam allowance. So after sewing, you turn your fabric to the wrong side, fold like this, then you sew from your sleeve to the side. So we've sewn from the sleeve to the side. We've done the same thing to the lining. Pin the armhole of the lining to the fabric. Pin round like you see. Pin the second armhole to the fabric too. And sew with 0.375 seam allowance. We'll open the side seam so we can sew neatly at that end, and I'm going to sew. So I can sew, you can see the way I'm turning, so you sew over it like that. After sewing, you fold the fabric into two to find the center. You mark like so, then you measure your shoulder to waist, mark across, then you measure 2.5 upwards, measure 2.5 inch downwards, mark like so, then you connect the line together. Measure 2 inch for the width and 7.5 inch lengths. Then this will also be 7.5 inch, then the width will be 9 inch on fold. That's 18 inches when you open it. Fold this 1/4 and leave 3/4 inch. Then you are going to sew over with about 0.25 like you see. So we've sewn it and I placed it and marked 5 inch, which we marked earlier. I marked it on the cover and I'm going to place it on it and sew the 5 inch distance on it like you see. I'll sew over it. I'll pin the point I want to sew. So I've sewn it, you can see. So next you are going to place your pocket bag beside it, mark the 5 inch again and sew over it. So I've sewn it, you can see it, you can see what it looks like. So you mark again, you can see the back. So I'm going to cut through the center of the two lines I've sewn. So cut through like you see. Then you're going to notch sideways towards the end of your seam. You notch like you see and you take your pocket bag inside. So our well pocket is gradually taking shape. So next I'm going to pick the notched angle and sew with the two ends of the well pocket and the other fabric. I'm going to sew it. So I've sewn it, you can see. Now we are going to lay the pocket bag over like this and sew, and we sew straight, sew the other end. So I'm done sewing the pocket bag and our well pocket is ready. Measure the the distance between the neck. Here we have 3.5 inches. Then you measure the circumference of the neck for the front and you measure the one for the back. To draft your hood, you fold your fabric into 4. Length is 16 inch, you measure like that. Width is 14. You can reduce yours to about 12 if you don't want it to be too wide. The distance between the neck is 3 inches, so I'm marking like you see. Measure the circumference for the neck for the front, which is 7 inch, like so, on a straight line. Then use your curve ruler to make a curve and you form like an S shape, like you see. Just form the S shape. Next, you measure your 4.5 for the back. I measured 4.5, so I'll mark like so. So I'm slanting downwards a bit. Measure half of what you have after marking your 3 inch. Then you connect like so. Then you measure 2.5. You can measure more than 2.5. You mark. You can use 3 if you want. I'm going to reshape it now. Curve ruler. You can reduce if you don't want it to be so wide. So this is what we'll have after cutting. Next, you are going to measure from this end to the other end of the hood and mark. I measured about 20.5 inch. So I'm going to sew along that line with about 0.5. I've sewn it, you can see. I'll close up the two sides like so with an 0.5 inch again. So I've sewn it and this is what I have. So I'm going to turn my hoodie inside out like you see. So just turn it inside out, holding the center. Ta-da! So here we have our hoodie. So we'll pin the hoodie to the neck of the fabric like so. So I'm going to pin my zip. So just pin all the way. Sew and stop at 0.5 inch before the end. So we are done sewing our zip and we've pinned. Next I'll pin the lining at the neckline to the hoodie and the fabric like you can see. So just spin it around. So pin it around. And you sew with 0.5 inch seam allowance. So we are done sewing and we have it neatly placed right there. Place the lining over the zip and pin and you sew straight. You can see for the wrist, the band will be the size of the wrist. So I'm using a 4-inch size band. I reduced the sleeve with about 2 inch. The length of the band is 2.5. Pin the band together and I'm going to pin. So the band is 2.5 inch long because I added sewing allowance. So just spin round and you keep pulling the band. It's elastic. Just pull and pin, then you sew round. I'm going to fix the band and it's 3.5 inch long. I'm pinning first to the upper bodice and I'm pinning it to the lining. So you pin like so, then you sew straight, you sew over the band and the fabric too. So we are done sewing. Then we are going to sew the zip. So you can see the zip underneath. I'm pinning the zip, holding it down so I can sew close, not over the teeth of the zip. So next I'm going to pin the fabric from the wrong side and you pull the band, you pull the band as you pin, you pull the band, pull and pin. I open up the side seam and I'm putting my hand in there. Ensure you lock both sides of the side seam you open. So I'm pinning the waistband and the lining. Pull while you pin. So we're going to pin all the way down. So I'm pinning round. After pinning, sew with 2.5 inch. We're done sewing, and here we have our bomber jacket with hoodie. So I'm going to close up this side I opened before. I ensure that I locked it properly from inside. So lock properly, if not locked, then I'll soon close to the edge.